Hello guys, my name is Ishak. I'm a full stack developer at Power Commerce and welcome to my session. Okay guys, so today we will talk about React front-end development with AI from prompt to working feature. So why this topic? Why this topic matters? Basically, AI can generate the code quickly. But in order to create a quality code, you need to be able to write a clear prompts. You need to be able to understand concepts from that framework. In our case, it is React. And you need to be able to review what actually AI generated. You need to be able to understand what AI generated in order to have a quality code. So today we will try to build our, let's say, mini app that will be movie app. So for, let's say, generating code, we will use Cursor. Our framework will be React. Uh, our API provider will be OMDB, and we will work a little bit, not too much, with Firebase, where we will try to implement like authentication, chat group, something like that. So today you will learn how to create an app using React and Cursor. So we will do everything through prompting. Nothing will be done by writing lines of code. So today you will also learn some core React principles, for example, hooks, why we are using types, error handling, etc. And you will be at the end you will be able to understand how to write clear prompts, how to find issues in generated code, and at the end we will initialize Firebase project and connect that Firebase database with our project. So let's talk about a little bit about React. So React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. It is developed by Facebook, which is actually Meta, and it works in a way that whenever you have like change in front-end out, you don't need to update. You don't need to refresh HTML page every time. React automatically updates only the parts of that page that actually needs to be changed. It does this using reusable components, which are independent pieces of UI, and based on that, it is making application easier to build, maintain, and scale. So the core principles, core things, core items of the React are components that are reusable blocks of the UI. Now we will work with the TSX, but here we have GSX, that is HTML syntax written inside JavaScript. TSX only means that you need to use types. Props, that is actually data passed from a parent component to a child. Then we have a state where data belongs to a component and can change over time. And we have a hooks, functions like use state, use effect, that add functionality to those components. And for Firebase, Firebase is serverless. That means you don't need to create any server functions. You actually don't need any backend work. You just need to initialize project and connect it with your front end. Then on Firebase we have also authentication. We will try to make like profile like registration for our app, where user will need to register, and everything will be saved under authentication Firebase. Then we have a Firestore, that is database that is actually document oriented, and we have a real-time database, which is actually JSON oriented database. And for example, real-time database can be used for real-time updating, for example, messages. So we can start with coding. Okay, guys. So the first thing that we need is a cursor. On their page, you can find different options and plans. So you have free option. I'm using this pro option. They had also like free trial for this pro option, but I think they removed that. So yeah, basically you can start with this free option. Okay, so this is cursor. The first thing that we will do is we will create empty folder called internship react project, and in our cursor we will select and open that folder. So you can see here we have here internship react project. So basically with this we can start with our prompts. I already created a prompts that I will use at the end. I will share my GitHub with all used prompts, so don't worry, you will have everything. So the first prompt will be about initializing our React project. So we will say initialize a new React application using White, React, and TypeScript. Use functional components only. Do not install any UI library, and do not add any movie functionality yet. We only want to initialize the default React project. That's all. Why we are waiting for initialization? You can go to omdbapi.com. Here we will use their API for fetching movies, and you can click it here on API key. So you will select this free option, input your email name, last name, and why you need their API. You can just put, for example, for internship project, and that's all. So after you submit, you will get email from them, and you will see here is your key, blah blah blah, and we will use this API with their key. So yeah, you can copy this and paste this into your .environment file that we will create it here as well. So for example, .env, and here we will create omdb API key with their key, and that's all. So yeah, cursor finished with React initialization, and we can open terminal and type npm run dev. So it will open this local host. You can go here and open it here. So you can see here that we already have default view from White. There is also some count functionality, but since we don't need anything from this, we will just remove all and start from basically a blank page. So I will say remove all default white content, images, styles, and demonstration code. Leave a minimal working React application with an empty app component. So do not create any additional components or functionality. Okay. Great. So he removed everything. Now we can see that we are working with the blank page, which is great. So you can see here in the files what he did, and we can see from app D6 he removed all content from index as well and from index HTML. Yeah, so basically we can start with creating our components. Okay, now when we have our project ready, we can continue. The first component that will be created is a head bar. So we will say to the cursor, remove all default white content, images, styles, send them. Oh, sorry. Okay, so when we have everything ready, we will start with our component that is header. So we will say to our cursor that create reusable header component. The header should contain a home, navigation link, a favorites navigation link, a search input, a search button. Use React router links for navigation. Only create and display the header. Do not create the home or favorite screens yet, because we will create that after. And do not connect the search input to any functionality, because we will do that as well after. Okay, we can see that he basically finished all. So let's see what we have. Okay, so here is the first problem. We can just copy this error and tell him to fix that. This is actually a problem with the package, but because we are missing this React router DOM, and he will install it for us. Actually it was installed, but we need to restart the server. We will do that as well. Okay. Okay, so what we can see that he added a header. You can see here classic HTML component. He also added that to the app component. So yeah, you can see header here. It doesn't look nice at all, and we will tell him to fix that. Okay, now it looks nice. We will go through it just to double check is everything in place. Index CSS, okay. Header CSS, okay. Header TSX, okay. And now we can keep all and confirm that everything is good. Now we will tell him to create our MVVM architecture for our screens that we will use. So basically I'll copy my prompt and put it here. So create the empty MVVM file structure for the home screen, create home model, use home model view, home view model, home view. So requirements: home model that will contain home specific data and business logic. Home view model will later contain React state and actions, and home view will later render the home interface. Create only minimal placeholder exports so the application can compile. Do not add API requests, React state, or movie UI. So basically, we only want to create like a template of MVVM structure. So MVVM means model view model. So we will use that architecture here. So basically it will create home model. In a home model we will just specify data and business logic. Then in a home view model we will have actually React states and actions, and in a home view we will only render the interface of that screen. So basically with this approach we will keep our structure clean and easy to maintain. Okay, we will send this one. He is already done, so we can see what we have. Okay, so he created pages folder, and in pages folder we have home that has home model, home view, and use home view model, which is great. So we will keep this one, and we will continue with our favorites page that will be, I'll delete this one and put new one. So we will create a VM file structure for the favorite screen, and it will create favorites model, favorites view model, and also favorites view. Okay, send this one. So you will see here that it already created favorites folder, and it also consists of 3 different files with different roles. So we will go through this. That's just to double check. Okay, right now we have empty files. Okay, this is good. The next thing that we will do is we will create our OMDB service file component, and that will be used for fetching movies from their API. So from this one that we received on our emails, and that basically we will put there all logic about fetching and fetching their API. Okay, so it added a new folder called services, and under that it put also the new created file, which is OMDB movie service. And this looks good. We will keep this. Now in .env we will add also a field called API URL. So this is the API that will be used for fetching movies. And yeah, we can basically continue with our prompts. The next prompt will be fetching this API. Okay, so implement the OMDB movie search request inside. So create an exported async function, search movies, requirements, use OMDB API, read the API key from white OMDB API key. We will just update this one, encode the search query, use the movie and OMDB search response types, return the search array as a movie, throw a readable error when the HTTP request fails, throw a readable error when OMDB returns response false. Do not use React hooks, do not use effects, do not manage loading error or component state right now. So we will just say this URL use this one. Okay. Now in this one, OMDB movie service, he added import types from movie.ts that he also created. So now we have a new folder called types, and under types we will add all types actually that we need for this project. Okay, so async search movies, APK, if response, we will just say k at console log just. Okay, now we will be able to track what is happening in the background, but when we connect this function with our home screen, we will, okay, oh, he already added this one. Okay, so we can test immediately. I'll run our terminal. So okay, go to this one, console. Okay, so test fails. So we will try to fix this one. Let's see what is happening. The reason is 401. I get it. I need to fix my API key here. I will do it in a moment. Okay, I updated my .env, so now it should work. Let's see. And it works. Great. We can move on. The next thing that we will do is we will work on our home model file. So we will use this prompt. So implement the home model inside, source, blah, blah, blah. Import search movies from OMDB movie service, create and export get movies, responsibility, trim the query, validate that the query contains at least 2 characters, call search movies with the cleaned query, return the movie list. Do not use React hooks, do not use it or use effect, do not call fetch directly. So we want to achieve that our home model has single responsibility. So this is why we are putting here, just like FYI to the cursor. So he knows that what is actually the clean task and responsibility, and what exactly he needs to generate. So we will send this one. Okay. So what we have here, we have export get movies. So he imported search movies from IMDb movie service, then put it like and call the function get movies. So we are returning search movies with our query. So yeah, that is it for home model right now. Next thing that we'll work on is use home view model. So we'll put our prompt into this one and say implement custom hook inside source page home use home view model, create and export use home view model, manage these properties using use state, query, movies, loading, error, create a function, handle search. The function should set loading to true, clear the previous error, call method movie, call get movies from home model using the current query, save the return movie list in movie state, store a readable error if the request fails, set loading to fails when finished, and we will return query, set query, movies, loading, error, and handle search. We don't want to have here render GX, don't call fetch directly, do not import on IMDb service directly. And he's done. Okay. So in a use home view model, he put everything what we mentioned: query, movies, loading, error, put handle search function with try catch block, with uh, finally property where we set loading to false, and we are returning query, set query, movies, loading, error, and handle search. The next step will be to import all these into our view. Okay, so regarding home view, we will say this: implement the home view inside source page, page home, home view, requirements. So import and use home view model. Display the current search input. Connect the input value to query. Update query using set query. Call handle search when the search button is clicked. Also allow searching by submitting the form. Display a loading message while loading is true. Display the error message when error exists. Render the movie list using .map. Display the movie title, year, type, and poster. Do not call fetch directly. Do not import home model or IMDb movie service. Do not implement favorites yet. And do not create a reusable movie card component yet. Okay. Now we have here basic view with form, input, and printing if error occurs, also with loading statement. Okay, he put here also search movies. We will fix that. But because we have Ready in the header. This was my mistake because I put in this prompt display the current search input. So yeah, okay, we still didn't load anything. We will do that in next few steps. We'll keep this, keep all, and we can continue. Okay, so if we want to have on our home page random movies every time, we will use this prompt. So create an initial movies function inside home model. Requirements: automatically fetch at least 20 movies when the home screen opens. Every application launch should display a different selection of movies. Generate the movie list by randomly selecting search keywords from predefined seed list. For example, Batman, Avengers, Harry Potter, etc. Use promise all to execute requests in parallel. Merge all results into a single array. Remove duplicate movies using IMDb ID. Shuffle the final array. Return exactly 20 unique movies. Keep all fetching logic inside home model. Use the existing OMDB movie service. Do not use React hooks. Do not call fetch directly. So basically, regarding this, we already making some kind of our algorithm because this API only works by search. So we will just generated our seed list, for example, with different keys regarding movies, and we will send requests based on that seed, and at the end we will shuffle everything and put like in the final fetch. So we can see here that home model now has 51 lines of code. So for example, we have seed keywords: Batman, Avengers, Harry Potter, I don't know, Matrix. So we have shuffle function here. Then we have initial movies function. So also this function will return initial movies. For example, we have here results and promise all function that is working based on selected keywords map, and it is calling search movies from our OMDB movie service. We will keep this, and we will keep this. Also in a home view model, we have use effect where on initial launch of this page we are loading initial movies. Okay, so you can see here that we already have some movies that are random, but yeah. Now we will, in home view section, we will move this to the movie card separated component, and for that we will use this prompt. So create reusable movie card component, create source components movie card .tsx. Requirements: receive one movie object through props, display poster, title, year, type, add a favorite button, but do not connect it yet, use a shared movie type, keep the component presentational, do not call APIs, do not use Firebase, do not manage the movie list. Update the home view to render movie card using .map. Okay, here we go. So in home view, he deleted this part because this part is moved to the movie cart. He created additional CSS, updated this home view CSS, and created movie cart. So you can see it here. How it looks like. It looks like this, and to be honest, it looks very nice. So yeah, we can continue with our prompting. We will just keep all this and continue. So yeah, we already have styling. We don't need to do anything more here. And yeah, we will try also search input here, for example, possible, and we can see it is working. So if we look like this, search query must contain at least 2 characters. That's good. And if I click home, nothing happens. And this is our first bug. So we will fix this with prompt as well. It should reload. Okay, so when we search movie by character and press home, nothing is loaded, so it should reload random movies. Let's see how cursor will solve this bug. Okay, so here removed this part. Set loading to true, set query error null, set query empty. So try okay result. So he basically moved the logic to asynchronous function called load initial movies, and whenever it is pressed in header, yeah, on home click, that function is triggered. So you can see it here. We pass prop to header. So on a home click, it reloads initial movies. So let's check this one. So home, great. When we click again, it reloads, and that's perfect. We will keep that. Now, when we have our mini app, it's time to connect our profile with Firebase. So we will have like small database, and we will save, for example, favorite movies to that database. And whenever we log in into our profile, we will see our favorites movies. Okay, so the first thing to do is go to Firebase, and we if you don't have a profile created, and click on go to console. So here we will create our Firebase project. Internship. Accept Firebase terms. Continue. United States, it's fine. Create project. So it will take some time to create this project. While we are waiting, we will go with another prompt, and that is regarding Firebase service. So we will put it here. Create and configure a Firebase for the application. Create source service Firebase service. Requirements. Initialize Firebase using environment variables. Export the database instance. Do not save or load any favorites yet. Do not modify home view. Do not add authentication right now in this step. So we will do that. I suppose that cursor will, for environment variables, create like example, and then we will fill that with our data. And yeah, you can see it here that he already prepared all data that Firebase needs in order to be configured. Okay, yeah, so here is Firebase initialize app and get database. So we'll keep this and continue with our Firebase project. Okay. So the first thing that we will do, we will add app. So it will be the web app, my React internship, register app. And we will use this SDK. So we can continue to the console. So let's see. So Firebase configuration, we need API key, out domain, database URL, project ID, storage bucket, messaging sender ID, and app ID. So we'll go to these settings and see what we have here, and we have everything. We can just copy property by property, out domain, project ID, storage bucket, sender ID, app ID. Yeah, so we still missing database URL. So what will we do is we'll go to project overview settings, general, actually, yeah, from here, database and storage section, we will choose, you can choose Firestore or real-time database, but let's go this time with real-time database. So here we will create database. Next, start in a test mode, enable. And yeah, so if you go back to general and to this section, here you should see database URL. Let's refresh this one. And yeah, you can see database URL. Copy this one. And basically that's all regarding Firebase initialization. And yeah, we can continue with connecting to the Firebase. Now, when we have our mini app, it's time to connect our profile with Firebase. So we will have like small database and we will save, for example, favorite movies to that database. And whenever we log in into our profile, we will see our favorites movies. Okay, so the first thing to do is go to Firebase and we, if you don't have a profile, create it and click on go to console. So here we will create our Firebase project. Internship. Accept Firebase terms. Continue, continue, continue. United States, it's fine. Create a project. So it will take some time to create this project. While we are waiting, we will go with another prompt, and that is regarding Firebase service. So we will put it here. Create and configure Firebase for the application. Create source service Firebase service. Requirements. Initialize Firebase using environment variables. Export the database instance. Do not save or load any favorites yet. Do not modify home view. Do not add authentication right now in this step. So we will do that. I suppose that cursor will, for environment variables, create like example, and then we will fill that with our data. And yeah, you can see it here that he already prepared all data that Firebase needs in order to be configured. Okay, yeah, so here is Firebase initialize app and get database. So we'll keep this and continue with our Firebase project. Okay. So the first thing that we will do, we will add app. So it will be the web app, my React internship, register app. And we will use this SDK. So we can continue to the console. So let's see. So Firebase configuration, we need API key, out domain, database URL, project ID, storage bucket, messaging sender ID, and app ID. So we'll go to these settings and see what we have here, and we have everything. We can just copy property by property, out domain, project ID, storage bucket, sender ID, app ID. Yeah, so we still missing database URL. So what will we do is we'll go to project overview settings, general, actually, yeah, from here, database and storage section, we will choose, you can choose Firestore or real-time database, but let's go this time with real-time database. So here we will create database. Next, start in a test mode, enable. And yeah, so if you go back to general and to this section, here you should see database URL. Let's refresh this one. And yeah, you can see database URL. Copy this one. And basically that's all regarding Firebase initialization. And yeah, we can continue with connecting to the Firebase. Okay, so after we initialize our Firebase app, we will continue with our prompts. So the next prompt will be about adding favorite service function. So we will say inside source service Firebase service, add functions for managing favorite movies. So create add favorite movie, remove favorite movie, and get favorites. So requirements for this are use IMDb ID as a unique movie identifier, keep all Firebase communication inside the service, return typed data, throw readable errors when operations fail, sorry, and do not use React hooks. And also do not update the UI yet, because we will do that in the next few steps. Send. So it added actually add favorites function. So it's set to the database favorites pet movie IMDb movie. There is also function remove favorites, calling remove from Firebase SDK, and get favorites that will fetch a snapshot with all data about favorites. Does it exist or not? And yeah, we will have that returned as a list. So yeah, we will keep this one and we will continue. Now we will start with implementing favorites model. So implement the favorites model inside source page, favorites, and favorites model. Import the Firebase service functions. Create and export allow favorites, save favorite, and delete favorite. Requirements: act as a wrapper around Firebase service. Do not call Firebase directly outside the service. Do not use React hooks. Do not manage loading or error state. Okay, it's done. So yeah, we have here now load favorite, save favorite, and delete favorite. We'll keep this one and we will continue with view model. So implement a custom hook inside source pages favorites, use favorites view model, create and export use favorites view model, manage with use state, favorites, loading, and error. So create functions, load movies, remove movie, requirements, use favorites model only, load favorites when the screen opens, use effect for the initial load, update local state after movie is removed, return all data and actions required by favorites view, do not render GSX, do not import Firebase service directly. Okay, so we can see here that now we have load movies function. Now we have async function as well, remove movie, and we are returning exporting actually favorites, loading, error, load movies, remove movie. So we will keep this one and we will continue. Now we will work on a favorites view. So the requirements here are use favorites view model, display a loading message while loading, display an error message when error exists, render favorites using movie card and map, show a friendly empty message when there are no favorites, allow removing a movie from favorites, do not call Firebase directly, and do not import favorites model directly. Okay, it's done. Let's see what we have. We updated props for movie card. Then we added favorites view for the favorites actually screen. And we added also a CSS as well. And we included path into our root file, which is app.tsx. So we can check what is happening here. Okay, so we have a list. If we go to favorites, no favorites yet. So you can basically go to real-time database and see real-time what is happening in the background. So for example, I will say for matrix favorite, I click the button and nothing happened. Let's see why. Okay, Paul, let's restart. Favorite, still nothing. Let's check again. Real time database. Okay, so let's use cursor for debugging and see what is happening and what he will find out. Yeah, so okay, so he forgot to add the button functionality. So you can see here now we have call on this function. And we also added a handle favorite from the home screen. So yeah, we can try that again. Favorite, and you can see here now it is saved under favorites. And if we go to favorites, we can see it here. Favorite this one, favorites, okay. Favorite this, favorite this, go to favorites, and yeah, everything is here. Okay, great. Now we can continue with authentication for a specific uh, profile. So you can basically register and after that log in, and then all saved profiles, all saved movies will be under your profile. Someone else maybe could make a profile and you have basically a mini app. We will implement authentication now. So the first thing that we need is from in Firebase, we need to create authentication service. So in security, go to authentication, and then we will start here, email and password, enable, save. That's all. So let's go back and use prompt for creating this one. So we will have install Firebase and update the existing Firebase configuration requirements. Initialize Firebase authentication using get-out. Initialize Cloud Firestore using get-firestore. Export out and DB. Create Firebase read Firebase configuration from white environment variables. Use mother model or do not add registration or login UI yet. Do not add favorites logic yet. Actually, we already have this one, so don't do this. Only actually, yeah, because we have application, we don't need to add anything new. Do not add anything new regarding various logic yet. Create or update Firebase service. Okay, so right now we have also initialized authentication, get out, get firestore. Great. So yeah, we can keep all. Now we will make prompt for authentication service. So implement and export these functions: register user, login user, logout user, subscribe to out changes. So requirements are use Firebase authentication, use create user with email and password for registration, use sign in with email and password for login, use sign out for logout, use on out state changed, return type at Firebase, convert Firebase errors into readable messages, do not use React hooks, do not use state or use effect, and do not render GSX. Okay. Now we have everything in place. So you can see here arrow codes. We have also function for user registration. We have also function for login user and logout user. And we have also function to subscribe to out changes. So yeah, we will keep this one. And we will now create MVVM files for authentication. Now create, sorry. So create out model, use out model view, use out view model and out view. So requirements: add minimal type placeholder exports, ensure the application still compiles. Do not implement registration or login yet. Do not add routing yet. Okay. So it created all of that. We will keep that. Now we will work on out model. So import the authentication functions from out service, create and export, register, login, logout. Responsibilities. Trim and normalize the email address. Validate that the email and password are not empty. Validate that the password contains at least 6 characters. Call the corresponding out service function. Return the authenticated Firebase user. So yeah, I can continue. Okay, we have now that. So we can see that it generated normalized credentials, register, login, and logout. And that is great. We will keep that. And we will continue with next prompt. Implement the use out view model. Manage these values using use state, email, password, mode, loading, error. Create these functions, handle submit, toggle mode, requirements. Handle submit should call out model when mode is login. Handle submit should call out model register when mode is register. Clear previous errors before submitting. Manage the loading state. Store readable errors. Clear the password after successful authentication. Return all state and functions needed by outview. Do not render GSX. Do not call Firebase directly. Do not import out service directly. Okay, let's see what we have. Handle some bit fine. Try catch finally. Good. Set loading to false. Excellent. Toggle mode. Set mode between login and register. Excellent. And we are returning these properties. Set email password. That is great. We will keep that and we will continue. So the next thing is to implement out view. So requirements use out view model, display it either login or create account based on the current mode, add a controlled email input, add a controlled password input, add submit button, disable the submit button while loading, display readable validation of Firebase errors, add a button for switching between login and registration, submit the form using onSubmit, prevent the default browser from form submission, do not call Firebase directly, and do not import out model or out service. Okay, let's see what we have right now. Authentication view. Great, we are importing this one from use out view model. Excellent, and we are returning a view. That is great. We also have CSS. Keep all. So the next thing will be create source context, out context, requirements, use on out state changed throughout service, store the current Firebase user, store an out loading state while Firebase restores the session, expose user, out loading, logout, wrap the application without provider, unsubscribe from the authentication listener when the provider unmounts, show a loading state while authentication is being initialized, and do not add favorites logic. Okay, we can see types here. We can immediately say mode types. No types on the types. Okay. Now it moved all types under the types, so that is great. Not here. You can still see that we have this one. So you can copy piece of code and send that in a prompt as well. Okay, now it looks better. So yeah, we have authentication provider, use state, authentication loading, use effect, subscribe to authentication change, good, log out button, if authentication loading, show loading authentication, great, authentication context, children, great. Use authentication, okay, we will keep this one. Authentication provider, good, keep. Okay, he moved this one as well, okay. Okay, authentication, this is good. And index, this is also good. Okay, we can continue. So we will say right now, update the application routing requirements, add an out route that displays out view, allow home view to remain publicly accessible, protect the favorites route when an unauthenticated user opens, redirect them to out when an authenticated user opens out, redirect them to this is wrong. It's fine actually. Preserve the header on every page, use the user and out loading values from out context. Okay. So we can see that we have here guest route, protected route, add the 6 as well. So yeah, we added favorites, we added out. Excellent. Great. Keep all. Now we will see what we have. Okay, so I can see favorite movies. I can go to favorites, but I need to log in. Even if I click favorite, oops, I should be redirected to log in as well. Okay. Ta-da. So if we are unauthenticated, so and if we press this favorite button, we want to go to this login page. So that's fixed. Okay, handle favorites, home view. Actually, we don't want to see this function here, so we will say to move it to view model, this to view model. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Okay, Paul. Yeah. Now we will update our favorites saving logic. So because right now it is saving globally under favorites, but it needs to save under a profile for each user. So we will do that. So update the existing favorites service. So favorites are stored under the signed in user's profile. Use this Firestore actually real-time DB structure. Update edit function so they receive user ID, add favorites, remove favorite, get favorites, requirements, use user ID as the parent, user document ID, use IMDb as favorite document ID. Okay, preserve the existing file behavior, do not use hooks. Okay. Okay, basically it updated all models. Not a good behavior, but okay, not too much. Load favorites, user ID, save user ID, okay, leave favorite, okay, we will keep this one. Our model, add move here, okay, user ID, movie, okay, keep file, use home view model. Now we have user UID, excellent. Use favorites, user, use out, user, user ID, excellent. Firebase, requirement, favorites, there's path, user, okay, add favorite, favorites, path, okay. Okay, okay. Okay, this should be good. We will add logout button as well. Okay, great. Log in, log out. Great. So basically, right now, you can go to login, you can create your account. I will use +1 because I created already profile with this internship email. Put some password. And yeah, so you can see we are in. We don't have favorite movies yet, so we can click on few of them and go to favorites, and you can see here that we have
those movies, go home. So you can also click, for example, here, and in database, you can see that it will be saved under your profile, which is great. And yeah, basically that's it. So we have our app. If you want to work on your security, you can just go to this tab, rules, and add here rules about who can write the data or read the data, but that's another topic. So yeah, it is working fine. Log in, log out. We can again log in. Great. I put the wrong password. Maybe I put the wrong email. Let's check here. It's fine. Okay. Perfect. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you will learn how to use Cursor and React. Now I have a task for you. So your task is to create mini app with Cursor and React. You can use the same API for movies, or you can find some open API and make application based on that. So, and also you can send me the GitHub repos to my mail, ishak.internship@gmail.com. Thank you again and see you. Bye.